Ultron has been my favorite character in Marvel Rivals since he released in Season 2.5. I've been a strategist main since Season 0, but I've specifically been maining Ultron since Season 2.5 because he's the most fun character to main. Hopefully my knowledge on the character can give you some useful insight into how to play Ultron effectively. I'm going to split this video into multiple sections. A short ability overview, when it makes sense to pick Ultron, strong Ultron team comps, how to effectively use your abilities, some small tips and tricks, and finally discussing the Season 4.5 changes. Side note, I'm always looking for ways I can play Ultron better, so if you have any tips I didn't mention or you disagree with any of my thoughts on the character, please comment down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Without further ado, here is my Season 4.5 Ultron guide. First things first, I'm going to do a super basic ability overview in case you don't know anything about the character. The Encephalo Ray, your primary fire, is a hit scan burst with infinite range. Imperative Firewall, the default right click, gives bonus health to yourself and nearby teammates. Dynamic Flight, the default shift, does a short dash in the direction you're moving. It also gives bonus health to yourself and increased movement speed for a short time. Imperative Patch, the default E, attaches a drone to a teammate and gives heals over time within the drone's radius. Teammates within the drone's radius also get bonus health from Imperative Firewall. The drone disappears after some time if you're too far away from your target or if you break line of sight. Rage of Ultron is your ultimate ability. It fires 5 volleys of explosive shots that can damage enemies and heal teammates. The Nano Ray is your team-up ability as of Season 4.5. It replaces your primary fire with a continuous beam that heals teammates and damages enemies at the same time. I want to keep this section short, so if you want more detailed stats, I recommend checking out Cool Guy or True Vanguard's guides on Ultron. Ultron is a hybrid healer DPS, not a main healer. He adds a moderate amount of healing and damage to your comp, but not a ton of either one. My number one piece of advice for picking Ultron is knowing when not to pick him. If you try to force Ultron every game, and trust me, I try, you might not win very consistently unless you're in the highest ranks. This is taken from my experience playing the character, but if you're built different and you can make Ultron work every game, more power to you. You should probably be teaching me how to play him. The main issue I run into is that running Ultron as a second healer doesn't work with every team comp. Theoretically it could work. I get away with it sometimes on attack rounds, but there isn't enough sustained healing for it to be good on defense, and even on attack rounds it doesn't always work. My theory is that most players are used to having 2 main healers on the team, which means they can get bailed out of riskier plays and can get away with face tanking a lot of damage. If you ask me, this is a result of how the game is balanced, and not necessarily the fault of the player base. That being said, Ultron is not a main healer, and he can't consistently burst heal. So if one of your teammates makes a mistake and takes a lot of burst damage, Ultron won't consistently be able to heal through that. Little footnote here, if you can get the Nano Ray team up, Ultron duo heal becomes a lot easier because the Nano Ray lets you do burst heals more consistently, so your team can get away with playing more aggressive. Ultron gets the most out of his heals when the team is grouped together, and everyone is effectively using cover to mitigate incoming damage. Unfortunately, most players won't change their playstyle to accommodate your hero pick. If they're used to playing risky and getting away with it, they're probably going to continue to do that. If this is the case, Ultron probably isn't the right pick for your second healer. In my experience, people would rather get angry instead of changing their own playstyle or swapping their own hero, so it's best to save yourself the stress and just swap yourself. Another footnote here, if your team is willing to play a triple healer comp, you can disregard everything I said in this section, because with 3 healers you should have enough sustain to keep your team alive through burst damage. Ultron is one of the best, if not the best, anti-dive healer. Obviously he flies, so the only divers that can consistently hit him are Iron Fist and Spider-Man. Don't underestimate BP and magic players though, they will still try to get you. His dash and overshield abilities easily negate dive attempts. He also does enough damage to make divers want to back off, so overall a strong pick against dive comps. Combine Ultron with anti-divers like Thing, Emma, or Namor, and your backline should never die. Little bonus tip, Ultron is Spider-Man's favorite ban. If the enemy team bans Ultron first, you probably want to ban Spider-Man second. Ultron is also a great complement to a poke comp. You have infinite range, so you can hit any target that you want. I like trying to fly above the enemy shield tanks so I can shoot at the squishies in the backline. The primary fire damage falloff is noticeable, so it's hard to secure kills by yourself at long range, but you can weaken a squishy target enough for a DPS like Hela, Phoenix, or Punisher to easily finish them off. Since Ultron is hit scan, he's pretty decent into enemy flyers as well. Just make sure you stay at a safe distance from flyers so they can't reliably hit you. You have enough mobility to tag along with your dive teammates, which will increase their chances of surviving their dives, and also add some damage to their dive attempts, increasing their chances of securing a kill. This is the playstyle I have the least experience with, but it's definitely fun to try out and your divers will love you for it. This is going to be most effective with someone like Iron Fist or Venom, who benefits a lot from the sustained healing of the drone. A diver like Psylocke or Spider-Man might be too fast for you to catch up with, so your drone isn't going to stay on them for very long and isn't going to get as much value. You have the ability to fly anywhere, but that doesn't mean you should be out in the middle of open space. Play around hard cover to keep yourself from getting shot out of the sky, and don't be afraid to play close to the ground if you need your teammates to heal you. Always have your drone on somebody. The drone has no cooldown, so there's no reason not to have it on a teammate at all times. The drone is best used when it is switched between teammates who need it the most. Usually I try to keep the drone on my frontline tank where most of my team is grouped together, but if your DPS or supports are low, you need to swap the drone over to stabilize them. You basically want to use Imperative Firewall off cooldown. The bonus health it applies is not permanent, so it's good to keep refreshing it. Firewall is also the only burst healing cooldown in Ultron's base kit, so you can use it to help stabilize a teammate or mitigate a small amount of burst damage if one of your teammates gets focused. Firewall can also be stacked with the bonus health from your dash to give you a fairly large temporary health boost. Be mindful of your dash cooldown. It is easily your most powerful ability. Obviously you get the initial burst of movement to get away from any immediate threat, but the increased movement speed you get for a short time after can make you extremely hard to hit. Use this in conjunction with hard cover and you will become pretty much unkillable, even against hit scan enemies. Your ultimate can be used in a few different ways. It has the highest burst healing in the game, so you can get plenty of value by using it as a defensive ult. Keep in mind that the ultimate has a wind-up time before you start firing, so if you're trying to save a teammate in a pinch, try to be proactive about using it. Ultron has a healer ult after all! You will get a lot more value by trying to secure a kill with your ult. You can use your dash to get close to the enemy backline, and you can usually secure a kill on at least one enemy support. You might not get a kill if the enemy supports know how to patty cake, but hopefully you can at least bait out a support ult or get help from your team to finish off the target you're focusing. I'd recommend only using your ult when your dash is ready. You can't use your firewall ability when ulting, so you're fairly vulnerable. Your dash is the only cooldown that increases your survivability during your ult. Here's a quick example of a bad Ultron ult. I didn't use it having any specific intent in mind. My teammates weren't taking enough damage to justify using it defensively, and I didn't single out a specific target to damage with it. Nano Ray is a super powerful ability. I would not recommend using it for raw damage because the damage per second is really low. However, it has great burst heal capability, so you can almost use it like a mini Ultron ult to try and stabilize a critical teammate. I also like to use Nano Ray like Jeff's heal beam, where I pierce through as many teammates and enemies as possible to build ult charge really fast. Keep in mind that Nano Ray has a wind-up time before firing, just like the ultimate does, so be proactive about using this as well. In this tips and tricks section, some of these tips will have an example clip to go along with them, and then there are some bonus tips that I don't have footage for. If you're in melee range of an opponent, usually during healer ult stalemate, you can weave in melee attacks between your primary fires to add a little bit of damage. Encephalo Ray does not get sucked up by Mag ult, so you can kill him if he's low. Ultron ult also breaks Magneto ult really fast. Ultron ult is good at killing Jeff when he ults.
I still got her.
Your ult gives you CC immunity, but it doesn't apply until after the starting wind-up time, so you can get stunned at the very beginning of your ult. Ultron ult is not very effective on enemy tanks and doesn't do much damage to summons like Punisher Turret or Rocket Amp. If you are using your ult for damage, try to single out squishy targets. Nano Ray has infinite range just like the base primary fire. So if a teammate needs heals and is too far away for your drone, Nano Ray comes in clutch with long range heals. You can cancel your reload animation halfway through by using your melee or your drone. I rarely use this because the reload is so fast anyways, but it is something to keep in mind. You cannot apply the drone directly to yourself, but you can heal yourself if you are within the radius of your drone on a nearby teammate. You cannot heal yourself with the explosions of your ultimate. However, during your ult duration, it gives a small amount of self-healing over time. If you are desperately in need of some heals, you can use it to heal yourself back up to full. Keep in mind that this is not a good way to get value out of your ult, and the self-healing does not make you invincible like Luna ult does. Encephalo Ray is good at breaking walls and bridges if you need an escape route or you want to open up a long-distance line of sight. In the Season 4.5 patch, they are nerfing his drone healing and firewall overshield very slightly. They are also making his ultimate charge slower. The healing nerf doesn't make sense to me. Like, are they trying to balance him around triple heal comps? Because if you ask me, that is the wrong mindset to have for balancing. I also don't think his ult needed a nerf. I think Ultron's ult was in a decent spot and rewarded you for having good uptime. In stalemates, his ult allows you to make game-changing plays, and now you have to wait longer to have that same impact, which doesn't sit right with me. Obviously, I'm biased, my main is getting nerfed, but I'm trying to look at it objectively, and I still don't understand why nerfs were necessary. Ultron is going to be even weaker in duo heal comps next patch, and I don't think that's a positive direction to take the character. If I were to make balance changes for Ultron, the only realistic change I can think of is making Nano Ray a base ability in his kit. In my view, this would make him a viable duo healer in almost any comp, and it wouldn't be extremely overpowered because Nano Ray is already a decently balanced ability. Also, I would revert the healing nerfs they are bringing with Season 4.5. Another change that I would love, but is probably unrealistic, is adding some more healing utility to his ult. I think Ultron ult is the most interesting strategist ult in the game, because you can use it in multiple ways, and I don't want to take that flexibility away at all. I also love the idea of having a burst healing ult, but in practice I feel that Ultron ult doesn't offer enough sustain to compete with other healer ults. Effectively, if you are running Ultron, you are depriving your team of a better defensive ult than you could have if you were playing a main healer. My suggestion for adding some more team utility would be something like Jeff ult, where you leave a temporary healing drone at the point you first activate your ult. Alternatively, they could do something unique like adding small healing pools at the impact point of each explosive volley. If they changed his ult in one of these ways, I would understand them nerfing his ult charge rate, but as it stands now, I don't get why my boy needed an ult nerf. That's all I have for this video. If you made it this far, thanks for sticking around and hearing what I had to say. I'm going to hand the mic to my good friend G-Bob for one last piece of advice.
Like and subscribe to your favorite Ultron main.